지금 다운로드 받으세요.
My list. I don't know why I'm doing this.
Game 11, Frozen Temple.
Frozen Temple, that's what it was. That's right. Okay. All right. So,
they're talking in the chat right now. Zest is like, how many losses do you have? hero's like, oh, it's really hard. I'm at 2-2. And then Zest is like, I'm 3-2 so far. So obviously in a better spot here. herO really needs this win. Taking those losses against, I think it was Lucira, right?
Yep.
And Super.
Don't forget that also for both of these players, this is a really valuable win. I talk about this all the time when we look at Pro League round robins. A win versus SKT is always going to be like 8 times more valuable than a win versus Prime.
8 times more valuable. It's true though.
Because when you play against people that you're favored against, you're more likely to get those points. But if you get the hard points, it puts you in a much better position because everybody plays everybody the same amount of times, twice.
Yeah. Well, guys, we are going to jump into King Sejong Station for game number 16 of Group D.
Target on my back, lone survivor last. They got me in the sights. No surrender, no trigger, fingers go.
Here we are on KSS King Sejong Station. Up in the top left in the red, it is herO from Sejantis.
And to the bottom right, his opponent in blue, it is Zest. In times past, this would have been like possibly the most incredible match of the group, even though Maru's in it. But herO has not been as dominant this year as he was last year. Not to say that he's not as good of a player as he was before, but I feel like in Legacy of the Void, Zest has surpassed him. Zest has been the best Protoss by far. By miles and kilometers and other units of distance, light years maybe even. Like we might be getting a bit too aggressive saying that, but
he's the best, man.
He is. Zest is best. Best is Zest.
It started out as a joke, but now it's actually true. He's like, oh, that sounds good. I'll actually become the best. That sounds even better.
He's just so consistent right now. And consistency is one of the reasons why you know a player is the best. Because anyone can lose to anyone on in a best of one or a best of three. But like
Super, right? I mean,
it's true.
Happens.
But when you look at like the overall results and you look at total games played and who Zest has beaten, he drops a map here and there, sure, but he's just the most consistent, and that's what matters.
That's very true. And I'm very curious to see how these two players are going to play out this map. This is herO's map choice, and that doesn't really surprise me. herO has always been a big fan of this map. He played a ton on this map in Heart of the Swarm. Was generally always put out on this map for Pro League, and obviously knows it very well. But this is going to be a mirror matchup. I want to see what kind of builds these guys want to go for.
Yep, it's a Stalker opening for herO versus the Adept opening for Zest, which means it's more likely a tech opening for Zest, and herO could be doing something aggressive, or at least feigning pressure into a Nexus. And obviously Zest with the Adepts will have the ability to scout a little bit more than what herO is going to be able to do with these Stalkers, because they just simply can't get into the main base. The Mothership Core, however, will be able to get a little bit of information just simply because it's a flying unit and is up against Adepts. He sees the Adepts on his way over too, so that's important. And he wants to go and check and see if there's a Nexus while he drops his with the Stalkers I was mentioning before.
Denied. You're not getting into the base of herO. Now he's on the chase here. He could do a bit of damage.
Ooh, trying to snipe this Nexus probe as well. He almost gets it. Not going to be able to do so, though. So, looks like a missed shade over here for Zest. Or like not a missed cancel or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Maybe able to get like 1 probe in the main.
Yeah, you should get 1, maybe even 2. 1 more shot.
Oh.
Barely gets the second.
Gets it, yeah.
3 probes in total. Actually, I guess one of those was the probe that died scouting, but
Immediate recall, but he does scout that Stargate. Very important information here for herO.
Look at notice the placement of his pylons. They're placed in such a way that if the Oracle commits, 2 pylons can overcharge and kill the Oracle. Oh, he's going to intercept as well. Oh, he's on not the best commands there with the Stalkers, but still damages this, which means further it will do less damage with the overcharges, with the perfect pylon placement there. He's got the triangle set up. And this is the pressure I was talking about when you go for Stalkers instead of Adepts. You have 2 more Stalkers. And if you commit to that first attack, you can do a lot. Okay.
Both players kind of standing there.
No, they're both so focused on what's going on over here. Good micro here so far from herO, forcing targets to be used, and actually he doesn't kill that Stalker, despite the fact that he had that second overcharge. Zest, meanwhile, looking for some harass of his own while there's no units here. 2 Stalkers warping in here. Slow warp in. Finally gets in.
Yeah, he's going to be able to hold this off, and the Stalker pressure at the front of... Oh boy, actually there's 2 Oracles now coming in.
He just baited the overcharge with those Adepts. There's no overcharge here.
And there it goes. It turns off essentially, and both Oracles survive very low health.
I don't think the Stalker pressure can work much more because of the Void Ray. Although he did bait out the overcharge or the prismatic alignment. And it's still active.
Yeah, and no blink here for herO. So now just looking at this, he has to go home. Even though he is behind, he's still only on 22 probes. And he's losing more every single time these Oracles pop in.
Yep, 2 more pylons coming up for Zest, so he can actually hold the pressure if a follow-up attack comes in, but he did so much damage with those Oracles. With the Void Ray here as well, like I just don't feel like he has any fear. herO's already walked away, he's gone home.
Oh boy, Dark Shrine.
Win behind.
Yeah, I mean, he knows his opponent already has Oracles on the map. The Dark Shrine is nice for the map because you can get them into the main if you drop them, and they can be very annoying to deal with for sure, but overall it feels a little bit desperate to me. I would much rather he just play it straight up from behind, and like maybe he try to take an earlier third base, take a risk somewhere else, but the Dark Shrine for me is it's not doing it for me.
Well, it's PvP. Sometimes Dark Shrines can win you games, but like in PvP, I feel like it's the mirror matchup where if you're a little bit behind, you can still catch up because of how quickly fights turn, and if you make some really good strategical decisions from behind, you can actually catch up easily. The Dark Shrine may save him here on the defense, actually. As herO doesn't have an Observer with his RB yet. He does have 2 Oracles, however, and the Observer is on the way. 2 DTs being warped in on the attack, on the aggressive here at a pylon, so it's going to be slow. 3 Stalkers getting caught, too.
I love the fact that Zest, really nice force fields here. He's going to be able to take out all 3 of those Stalkers, but he always pressures when he goes for a third base, specifically against Terran, but also here against Protoss.
Look at how quickly you saw that on the map. GG.
That's it.
Wow.
He knew. I mean, it was a gambit, right? Hopefully you don't have observers. Hopefully you don't have detection. Well, it's Zest. He's going to have it. He takes it out.
And it's an away win. His 3rd away win of the group. So massively favored, as you already mentioned, to get out of the group in first place at this halfway point.
Yeah. Zest doing really nicely so far, whereas herO 2 and 3 kind of hanging on there, but nobody else really. I guess Lucira has 3 wins so far.
And 1 away win, which is helpful. It takes 6 wins to get out. And it took me a whole group to figure that out, but actually, like after we went to second group, I was like, oh, that's it. It takes 6 wins to get out and 6 wins to be eliminated. Yeah. And we potentially could have 5s and 5s. But we are going to have a break coming up here, guys. And it's actually going to be after we take a look at these standings. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be about a 30-minute break. But here are our standings, as mentioned. Zest in first, Lucira second, Maru a close third, but he doesn't have the away win.
Yeah, and herO sitting at the bottom, actually, because he's tied with Reality and Super at 2 and 3, but he has no away wins. So really needs to pick some of those up here in the second half.
Yeah, and 4, 5, and 6, they have 3 lives left, essentially. Same with Lucera, but the away win makes it less likely that he'll be eliminated in a tie. As this group is insanely close. It was the group of death for a reason, but it was mostly because of Zest, herO, and herO. But the rest of the players are putting up a fight, and I mentioned earlier that a lot of people are thinking Lucera might get out of the group. You know, he was going to be the guy, and I was a doubter, but he's looking okay. You know, we're far from over. We're only at the halfway point, but he looks solid.
Towards
really
like the next 5 to 10 games, that's really when we're going to figure out where we're going and who's going up and who's close and stuff like that. But guys, we're going to take a 30-minute break. We'll be right back.